Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a late edition of Weekly Picks. Last week it was early in the morning. Now we're late today. I had a couple of things going on, and I'll be leaving for Georgia 3 a.m. about 3 a.m. to get on the plane, go through security and stuff. So have to do a little bit late. Got to get some tied up some loose ends. But we're here as always. Brett did manage to make a comeback finally. He's got the win percentage by 1%. But a couple more wins and a couple more losses because he usually hits his upsets. So he gets those extra points. So he's got 78 wins, 48 losses. I got 73 wins and 49 losses. So it's getting pretty tight here. And then, we'll see how this week goes. I had a long stretch of poor choosing. Brett went 13-3 last week with his extra pick. So they're pretty damn good. So, Brett, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Shawn. I mean, I've been going around the bit. I've been on Nickel City Mafia, my show, and now your show. So I'm pulling the triple header tonight, trying to make everything work and fit around everybody's schedule. Did the AFC Summit show. So if you're new to Shawn's channel and you haven't checked out Nickel City Mafia, check out the AFC Summit show. And then I did my own show doing a film study on Rasul Douglas, who was the new cornerback that the Bills got. That was a great one that we did, about 15 minutes long. Broke down some of the plays that he made for the Green Bay Packers, and I can't wait to see this kid play for the Buffalo Bills, but I'm looking forward to this. And I want to say to you, Shawn, safe travels down to Georgia, man.
Thank you.
They always say the devil went down to Georgia, so just be careful down there and be safe. Don't do anything stupid, and but have fun, man.
No, I never do stupid things. I like life too much, so you don't got to worry about me. I don't know if the world will do something stupid, but I'll be careful, of course. Why was the summit today and not Tuesday like normal?
So we moved the summit from Tuesday because of Halloween, and we wanted to make sure that obviously, families are going out. We have, I have my family that, we do trick-or-treating with, and we went around the neighborhood, which was bigger than I ever imagined. I dressed up as Bobby Boucher from The Waterboy, and my fiance dressed up as Vicky, which was pretty cool. And then I know Jake, he had over 100 people over at his house, which was incredible. Now, secret time, I'll tell you right now, if you're new to the channel, and you live in the Buffalo area, you got to go over to Jake Podger's house. I will disclose the address because he gives out full-size candy bars, which is always good to get. So when I go up to Buffalo next year, I'm going to sneak in and get a full-size candy bar from Jake and make that happen. But Mike also had a great time in California doing his thing and making Halloween fun for his son, who was lucky enough to, with his injury, to be able to go and trick-or-treat this year. So it's going to be a good time. And we got to move the show from one day to another. And it was actually a great show, great turnout that came on the Nickel City Mafia. So as always, click on over if you're watching later in time and check out the AFC Summit show.
Awesome. Can't wait. I'll have to check it out later tomorrow. But without further ado, Thursday night football. You got Pittsburgh headed in home against Titans. Pittsburgh's favored by 2.5. This is interesting because you would think Pittsburgh would walk away with this, but after how Tennessee played last week, Henry looked good, D-Hop looked good, so good that they were not sellers at the trade deadline, even though I really doubt that they'd even compete for a playoff berth, in my opinion. So kind of weird that they didn't sell, but nonetheless they didn't. So Brett, who you going with here?
So I'm going to take the upset of the week early. And I'm going to take the Titans over the Steelers and pick the Titans to win this game. I think it's going to be a good matchup, though. This is a game. Will Levis has been pretty special in his first start overall, but this is a big challenge going up against the Steelers defense on a short week. Kenny Pickett does have a rib injury, so we'll see if he's going to play. He's been limited this week, but we don't know what version of Kenny Pickett we will see. So I'm going to take the upset this week and roll with the team that has some momentum going forward with Will Levis and DeAndre Hopkins, who's looking pretty good right now as well, and as well as Derrick Henry. So I'm going to roll with the Titans and take a upset of the week pretty early.
Nice. I was actually thinking about that, but then I was like, I feel like Brett's going to do it anyway, so I'll let you have it. But I don't know. It's just tough because the Steelers 1 week, they'll beat the Ravens, and they'll play like shit the next week, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, thanks for that. Same thing kind of with the Titans. They were 2-4, and you're like, oh, they're not going to beat the Falcons. The Falcons look pretty good, and then they smoked them. So it's like, what's going on here? But I'm still going to pick the Steelers. I think, even without Kenny Pickett, I think they'll do enough. I think their defense is going to be good enough. As much as I think Atlanta has a pretty good defense, I don't think it's because of their defensive line. I do know they have a great secondary. I'm not 100% certain they have a defensive line like Pittsburgh does in that sense. So I think, Cam Hayward's probably back by now. I'm pretty sure I think he's coming back this week, or he already was back last week. And you got TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith and all that stuff. So I think it'll be tougher for them this week. So I'm going with the Steelers. And then you got the Frankfurt game. I didn't get a chance to write them down, so I got to look at my phone. Kansas City's only favored by 2.5 against Miami. And this is huge for multiple reasons. The Dolphins win, we'll say. Then the Chiefs go 6-3. We're 6-3 if we win against the Bengals, and then you got to play the Chiefs still, and then you still got to play the Dolphins again, even though they're 7-2, and you already got the tiebreaker with the Dolphins. Or the Dolphins lose, and then you're in first place if you win, and then you still got to play the Chiefs later in the year. So this is a pretty big game, and the last time Miami beat a winning team was us last year in Week 3. So they haven't beaten a winning team in a long time. They haven't looked like they're going to beat a winning team from playing us and the Eagles. The Chiefs did lose to the Broncos in a pretty bad game. I just don't see the Chiefs losing 2 in a row. And, the Dolphins are still a great team. I just think it's going to be that kind of year where they're really good, but 9 times out of 10, they don't beat the good team. So I'm going.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on this one. I think that the Chiefs, they have a defense that's kind of been up and down this season, but I also think that they're starting to come into their own. Now, this game does depend on whether Taylor Swift is going to be at this game, so that's
very true.
Well, we'll see if she makes the trip over to Germany on the Chiefs flight, and if she does, Travis Kelce is going to go off, which we know. So, but
that's a great point because she wasn't at the Broncos game.
That's right, but
they lost, so
they let down last week. I don't see them doing that 2 weeks in a row. And this game is going to be a tough one, though. But Jalen Ramsey, it could be the factor that kind of tips the iceberg for the Dolphins to win this game. But I just don't see it happening. I think that the Chiefs will find a way to win. And especially with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you can never go against them. So I can't do it 2 weeks in a row and say that they're going to win this week. So I'm going to take the Chiefs to win.
All right. This game would have been different, but it's kind of easy for me in this one. Atlanta home against the Vikings, favored by 4.5. Kirk Cousins going down, couldn't happen to a better guy. Not only is he a fierce competitor who was always severely overlooked, he was playing the best football of his life. He was tied for first with passing touchdowns with Tua, one above Josh, and, up at top 2 in passing yards, I think. Just playing great football. And, didn't have total touchdowns like Josh does. Josh had the most total touchdowns, but Kirk was playing great football. And they were winning without their best weapon. Now he's gone, and, they got rid of Ezra Cleveland, one of their best linemen, to the Jags, of course, of all teams, for a 6th-round pick. Dolphins fans are probably, in shambles about that. But should be an easy win. Atlanta will bounce back at home after losing to the Titans. So, I'm going to go with the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going to go do the same thing and go with the Falcons. You got to remember they are starting Taylor Heineke at quarterback this week, which is going to be a better sign for them. I think they're trying to see what they have, especially with Desmond Ridder getting benched last week. So we'll see what they find out. Bijan Robinson, I mean, I can't say enough about him. I really like him as a rookie. I think he's going to make a big impact. But we need to see a little bit more out of Kyle Pitts. That's the one person that I've been surprised with. If we don't see Kyle Pitts in this game, and this is a game that the Minnesota Vikings win, could it be the end of Arthur Smith in Atlanta? That's something that we have to think about too. So I'm going to roll with Atlanta winning this game and finding a way to get the job done. So that'll summarize it for me.
Then you got a little bit disrespectful line here. People talk about disrespect when it comes to line sometimes. How about Baltimore favored by 5.5 at home versus the 5-2 Seattle Seahawks? First place Seattle Seahawks. I'm going with Seattle for the upset here. I think they've been playing great football, and they played the Bengals, lost 17-13. They had 5 red zone trips, only got 1 touchdown and 1 score, I think, even too, because I think they turned the ball over a bunch of times in the red zone. So I don't think that'll happen again against another good team. I think the Seahawks are gonna definitely win this game. I don't know much of an. I know it's an upset technically by the line and the record, but Seattle's a really good team this year. Oh, and as soon as I mentioned Seattle, Jello comes in. Should be closer to 3. Yeah, I think 5.5 is a little too much, but I got Seattle winning this game anyway. Upsetting the Ravens in Baltimore. Seahawks will remain in first place at 6-2, and Baltimore will be falling down the ranks at 6-3.
I think that this is going to be a game that is going to be close. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I like the Seattle defense, like you just said, Shawn. This defense just added Leonard Williams, who's going to help so much. But this is a game where I don't see him playing on the long trip going all the way over to Baltimore. But this is going to be a game that is an East Coast game at home for the Ravens. It's another factor. Lamar Jackson looked pretty bad last week. I think he's going to play a lot better this week. And I think it's going to be another game where the Seattle is not going to show up nearly as much. And I know that doesn't give me a lot of love in the chat from Jello, so he'll be a little upset. So I'm going to take Baltimore to win this game and find a way to get it done. But this team is going to be healthier for the Baltimore Ravens, and they're always getting healthy, and they're going to make a big difference in this game. I do think that the Seattle Seahawks are slept on quite a bit, don't get me wrong, but I just see that the Ravens are going to find a way to get it done with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, definitely going to be a good game for sure, no matter what happens. Then you got the Saints home, favored by 7.5 against Chicago. Feel bad for that, that Bajent guy, because he had a really nice touchdown pass that the guy dropped. So, that game against the Chargers kind of got out of hand. But Chicago's not a good team. I think the Saints will drub them, and it'll be a pretty easy win for them.
I think that the Saints will win this one by quite a bit. This is the second game in a row that the Bears are going to be playing on the road, which is going to be a challenge for them. Justin Fields, won't be back, so we know that. And then you have Derek Carr, who's been playing pretty good with a Saints defense that's been getting healthier and playing a lot better lately. So I'm going to take the Saints to win this game and find a way to get it done.
Love it. And you got Browns home against the Cardinals, favored by 7.5. The Cardinals aren't good, obviously, but they're in every game they play, it seems. If it wasn't for like a last couple minute pick against Cincinnati, the game was a 1-score game. They beat Dallas somehow. The Giants game was a 1-score game. Like they had an opportunity to win a few games this year, even if they, people can say they're tanking all they want. I think they're just, my cat's playing with something over here. But yeah, doesn't matter. PJ Walker, Deshaun Watson, I think the Browns will still win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that the Browns will win this game pretty easily. especially with a rookie or another quarterback coming in Clayton Tune, who we don't really know a lot about.
Oh, is he going to be playing?
He's going to be playing. So,
oh, nice. I got him in a dynasty league. Maybe I'll play him, give him a shot.
So we'll see, but he's going to be starting. I don't believe it's going to be. It hasn't been confirmed that Clayton Tune will start. So that's something that I have seen quite a bit. But the Browns defense, that's legit with Jim Schwartz. I can never rule against them. I love them a lot. So I'm going to roll with the Browns to win this game. I think it's going to be by more than 10 points.
Probably. I can see that. Then you got Tampa Bay, who we just beat. They're on a 3-game losing streak. Still a good football team. Against Houston, who just lost to the 0-6 Panthers, 3-4 as well. They're home, favored by 2.5. I think both these teams, it's a must-win because it's Tampa Bay more than likely because their division, Atlanta's in first at 4-4. So if they win here, still sitting pretty good. But then Houston, they're in a division with the Jags, so they're going to have to hope for a wild card. So they got to start winning as well because at 4 losses, like how I mentioned with the Bills, we're 5-3, but if you lose, 6 games, you might not be able to make the playoffs. So the Texans are in danger of their season being over as well. And when you lose to a team like the Panthers, they were 0-6 and you were 3-3, you could have really started your season off pretty good. But I think Tampa Bay will bounce back and win this game on the road. It should be a good game, though. I think it'll be a great game. I know Damian Pierce is questionable because I have him in fantasy. So maybe Motor Singletary will get some more carries. And then I feel bad for Tampa Bay. But I think the Bucs will win this game.
Well, you got to remember one thing, Shawn, about this game. The Tampa Bay Bucs are coming off of a Thursday night football game, so they'll have 3 extra days of rest, which is always helpful. It's kind of like a mini bye for them.
Yeah.
When you add in the fact that they've lost 3 straight games, which hurts them as well. Their offense has not been playing very well either, with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin being under 100 yards combined against the Buffalo Bills. And you add in the fact that the Houston Texans are playing decent ball right now, but CJ Stroud is the one that's carrying them, and they've kind of been exceeding expectations. So I think this is going to be a game where the Bucs are going to get a win out here in Houston. So I'm going to take them to win a very close nail biter where it could come down to a kick that wins the game.
Nice. Definitely be interesting there. This game's tough. Patriots home against the Commanders, 2-5 minus 2.5. I want to say the Commanders easily because Sam Howell's been doing pretty good. It's funny because I think he's had 2 games this year where he threw 4+ touchdown passes, and then when we smoked him and he threw 4 picks, everyone's like, "Oh, it's Sam Howell," but then he's like top 5 in touchdown passes, so he's got some talent. But they did trade Montez Sweat and Chase Young, so their defense is a little bit even worse than it's already been. So then, it's kind of tough thinking about the Patriots. Like, maybe they could find a way to win this game. But I still think I'm going to go with Washington. I think they still have a lot of weapons on offense, even though they're trying to retool, I think, in the offseason. But I'm going to go with Washington just because I think they got the firepower on offense to beat New England.
So I've learned a lesson that has gone quite well when you're betting, especially from it's kind of a bet that you think of when you think of a guy like Kenny Loggins, who, the gambler song. So I was thinking about this and I'm going, when 2 bad teams play together against each other, what do you tend to do? You tend to take the home team. So in this matchup, I'm going to take the home team just because the Commanders are playing with a depleted defense now. They lost Montez Sweat. They lost Chase Young. Don't really have a lot, but you also have a limited offense in the New England Patriots. So you got to find a way to figure out what's going to bend the table on this one. I'm going to take the Patriots to win. I just think that Bill Belichick, he never gives up on a season. It's not over for them. They got to get back in the race in the AFC East, even though I think it's a little too late, but we'll see what happens there.
Love it. Shout out to my boy Lewis, the Rabid Dolphin, on the Fins tailgate. Go show them some love. He goes, I like the Bills more when you guys are in second place in the AFC East. JK, salute to you, gentlemen. Great show. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, it does make it more fun too, because we're neck and neck, and maybe we'll be in second place for the whole year, and then week 18 baby comes around and we can take it back. But
that's right.
This will be huge for you guys if you guys can win against Kansas City, because you'll knock down a really good team and you'll be 7-2, and that'll be huge. So definitely a big game coming up, and I'll be always listening to you guys. So be tuning in for that. Gotta wake up early though for this one. Those are a pain in the ass.
That's true.
Then we got Green Bay Packers, who are season's over for them, against the Rams, who basically is over for them too. They're the home team, the Packers, so you might go with them. But I think the Rams and the Packers are favored by 3.5. But I think the Rams will, as bad as they've been, I think they'll come away with this win here because I think Green Bay just can't get it together on offense.
Yeah, the Packers aren't looking too good on offense, and they are losing games quite a bit. They have lost a couple of key players. Rasul Douglas to the Buffalo Bills, obviously, is the one that I think of. But this is consecutive road games for the Rams as well. And the Rams were dominated by the Cowboys last week. So is this a game where they are kind of thinking about the end of the road for them, which I completely think they aren't? But I also like Matthew Stafford. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's going to make a big difference. I'm going to roll with the Rams as well and take them to win this game. Even though I do like Jordan Love, I think that this could be a game where Jordan Love has a comeback. I just don't think it's going to happen with Puka and Cooper Kupp out there. Now, Matthew Stafford is injured, so he's dinged up. I will say this, though, and I don't know if we're allowed to say it. If Matthew Stafford is not playing, I want to take the Packers to win this game. So if that could be clipped in there as a note, I do want to take the Packers to win if Matthew Stafford is out. So we don't know for sure if he's going to be playing in this game.
That'll be you thought about it, but you picked Rams anyway. The Rams is on the paper, so we'll see. But no, I mean, Joe, my boy, says it's not over for the Rams. If they lose and they're 3-6, unless there's like a lot of teams that fall off in the NFC, they have to basically win out to win, or go one loss the rest of the way. But if they win, they still got a chance in hell to come back. Will be tough though, because there's not a lot of room for error at that point. Then you got the Colts away against the Panthers, who just won their first game. Frank Reich playing his former team that he coached. Colts coming off a tough loss. Carolina coming off their first win. They're home. The fans might be rowdy and excited, but I still think the Colts will come away with this one. The Colts are favored by 2.5, and I think they'll probably win by more than that. But still saw a lot of good things from the Panthers, and Bryce Young's slowly getting better each week. Yeah. They're still banged up on defense, but they found a way to get it done against the Texans, and still think they'll fall short against the Colts.
I do too. I think they're going to fall short just by a little. Gardner Minshew has been playing pretty good as well, so I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts to win this game and come up with a win.
Love it. Sorry, I'm just writing some things down here.
No worries. I wanted to get into the other teams that have buys this week as well.
Sure.
There's 4 teams that are on the bye week this week, just so that the people that don't know which teams have buys, the 49ers, the Lions, the Jaguars, and the Broncos all have buys this week. So you won't see them in action right now, which is actually good for the 49ers to get Chase Young back in there and or acclimated to the 49ers defense, and he'll probably play next week.
Love it. Here's a big game coming up. My Dallas friends. Eagles home against Dallas. Eagles favored by 3.5. Dallas is going to win this game. Dak is 8-3 versus Philly. Philly's been looking beatable all season. It's just Dallas. I think, even though they've played a couple bad games, I still think they can compete with this Eagles team for the division. And I think they're going to come out, and they're going to shut the Eagles up, and Dallas is going to take the lead in that division at 6-2, where the Eagles fall to 7-2, and then it's going to be their division to lose at that point. Dallas will win this game, and I'll be rooting for Dallas for sure. But CeeDee Lamb, you got Micah Parsons, their offensive line is good. Zach Martin's fantastic. Tony Pollard hasn't been having his best season, but I think he'll have a great day, and then they're going to take this one away.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think the Cowboys are going to find a way to win this one too. Eagles are struggling right now. They don't really have an identity, but you got to remember something as well. They did get Kevin Byard to figure out the back end of the secondary for them as well. I don't think he's going to play in this game, though. I think it's a little too early to see him out there, but this is going to be a good win for the Cowboys, who their offense is starting to come together. Their defense has been playing pretty well as well, with Dan Quinn as their defensive coordinator. But I think the Cowboys will find a way to win this one. But I think they're going to split the series, though.
Interesting. Love it. Love it. Love it. Then you got the Vegas Raiders, who just fired their GM and coach. Didn't trade anybody, keeping all their stars there. They're 3-5, home against the 2-6 Giants. Now, if the Raiders won that game against the Lions, which they were in it, they would be 4-4 right now, playing a shitty Giants team where they could be 5-4 and in the playoff hunt. But now they're probably, we already know how the season's going to end for them. However, I do got the Raiders beating the Giants. Giants came off a tough loss to the Jets. I think they had a 99% chance to win the game at the end, and they somehow lost it. But they're just not having a good season. I think the Raiders will find some fire in their interim coach, and they're going to win this football game. And it'll be a good game, close game. But I got the Raiders winning this game.
How about a comeback from Antonio Pierce, the Super Bowl champion Antonio Pierce, coaching against, his former team in the Giants? That's going to be incredible. Now, the Raiders did fire their head coach, GM, and offensive coordinator, Mike Lombardi, as well.
Oh, the OC too?
OC too. So a lot of big moves from the Raiders. You got to remember back to about a month ago when Mark Davis was asked if he was going to fire Josh McDaniels, and he said no. He said he's going to roll with him. But I think once they got out of playoff contention, that made it even more easy to see them moving on from Josh McDaniels, especially with the blowout that they had against the Lions. It made things so easy. I understand the move. It's very easy to do. And it's something that should have happened. I'm surprised it wasn't sooner than that. Right. But I'm going to take the Raiders to win this game with a lot of energy from the Raiders, more energy. Now, their former interim head coach that they had before, I'm always going to say his name wrong, Rich. I can never say it. It's Biscacci, I believe it is.
I think,
something like that. But you'll figure out who it is. I love him. I thought that he was going to be the head coach of the Raiders. They brought him all the way to the playoffs. Surprised they didn't go after him and make him the head coach. He was beloved from the Raiders, made a mistake, and now you're moving on from your offensive coordinator that you thought was going to make the team so much better, and kind of blew up the offense of the Raiders with Devontae Adams and Jimmy Garoppolo right now, and Garoppolo is not playing very good either, and Josh Jacobs isn't doing very well as well. So the three-headed tandem that they had might have been better with Derek Carr. Maybe they should have just kept him.
Yeah, probably. But all right, Sunday Night Football, big game for both teams. A lot lies on this game. The Bengals are favored by 2.5, which I don't know if they should, because I think we've been playing better than them all season. Minus, they had I think 2 good games out of 7. We had 4 or 5, but they came off a big win against San Fran. They look pretty good, but I won't be able to do a preview because I'll be in Georgia for a good friend's wedding. My wife is bringing the laptop, but I'm not going to bring maybe I can do it, but maybe I can join you, but I'm not going to bring my setup or my microphone. But we'll see, because I don't know how the wedding's on Saturday, so I don't know how long it's going to go. So I might not be able to make the Ruthless show, but Brett will be representing us
for sure.
It's the Bengals are 4-3, we're 5-3. We beat the Bengals, they're 4-4. They still got to play the Ravens. They got to play the Steelers twice. They got to play the Browns again, who they can't beat. They got to play the Chiefs again. I think they play the Dolphins. I'm not sure, but they got a real hard schedule coming up. So, and if we go into Cincinnati after what happened last year, after they came and beat us in the playoffs by a ton and embarrassed us, we go and beat them in Cincinnati. They're saying Joe Burrow's healthy now, so they can't use that excuse if we win. They've been playing hot. They beat the 49ers, so if we win, there's no excuse. And then that looks good for us because we choked against the Patriots. We threw away a game against the Jags, who are now 6-2, and we could have won, which could have been huge for us. And I think that we will win this game. Part of me wants to put it for the upset of the week because it's 2.5-point dogs, but it's not an upset. I think that this will be a really good game, and if we don't turn the ball over, you don't give them extra possessions, you play physical, you don't blitz, and you play smart football and spread the ball around, I think we'll win this game. And don't know the score, but Bills are winning it, and they'll be making a statement for the AFC.
I agree with you on this one. As much as I love the Cincinnati Bengals for all that they've done for us, especially with Damar Hamlin, I mean, that is going to be such an emotional game from the Buffalo Bills. I think that this is a game where the Bills make it right. And they haven't been playing good against the competition that they faced, which has been mediocre competition. They've played, let's be honest, mediocre to piss poor in those games. Now you're going to see a difference in the Buffalo Bills, who are playing up to competition, which is going to make it even better. I cannot wait for this game, and it's going to be a fireworks with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd out there. The one person I am a little bit scared of is Joe Mixon, and what can he do? So we got to find a way to get the answers right and figure out the offense and get our defense figured out as well, which I think is going to be a good game for them to do. But I cannot wait to see this game.
Yeah, it's big because if the Bengals win, they go 5-3, and then we're 5-4. And then depending on if the Steelers and Browns win, we'll be out of the playoff race at this point, and we'll be in the hunt. And then, the Jets are playing as well on Monday. But if we win and they go 4-4, they got 4 conference losses, and we got the tiebreaker on them. So if we don't win the division, if Miami's always one game ahead, even if we beat them week 18, if they're one game ahead, then the best we could get is a 5 seed. So you always have the tiebreaker with Cincinnati if you beat them. So this game is super important for many reasons, especially because you threw away a game against the Patriots where you should have won. You lost to the Jags, and you threw away a game against the Jets, literally threw the game away when everything was going well. And then, that's a game we shouldn't have lost as well. And we give a team like the Jets hope that they can be a playoff team when they should, in all essence, be 3-4 or 2-5, because that Giants game, they had 99% chance of win. Somehow they ended up losing that game. But
the Bills game too. I mean, they should have lost that one.
Yeah. So going from should be 2-6 to 4-3, or 2-5 to 4-3. Things can happen crazy. Speaking of the Jets, Monday Night Football, Jets home against the Chargers. I feel like the Jets get a ton of big games at home.
They do.
And we get, we have to go to Kansas City. We have to go to Cincinnati. We got to go to Philly. We got to go to LA. But regardless, this is another huge game for both teams. The Chargers are 3-4, and they're definitely on the verge of their season being done. And the Jets are 4-3, and they're on the fence looking in. Now, the Chiefs are going to win that division no matter what. The Dolphins and the Bills are going to win the division no matter what. The Jets aren't going to win the division. So this game is huge for that same reason. If the Jets win, they go 5-3. If the Chargers win, they go 4-4. The Jets are 4-4, and then the Chargers jump up in the playoff standings. And that's going to be tough, and for the Jets to, because you're always going to have that tiebreaker. So huge game. But I'm going to pick the Chargers here. I think that they played a little bit better than they have been. Eckler's starting to heat up. Their defense has been looking a little bit better. And I think the Jets offense is still lacking, no matter what happens. And Breece Hall makes some big plays once in a while, but I think the Chargers offensively will be able to break through this defense, and who statistically isn't what they were last year, but they're still a great defense. But I think the Chargers will win this game.
Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. The Mack attack is what I wanted to say. It's going to make a big difference out there going up against the Jets offense. I cannot wait to see this one. I think you're going to see a difference in Zach Wilson, who's going to look like Mac Jones out there and make him a little afraid. But this is going to be a game where the Chargers are going to dominate. Chargers by 10 or more is my pick in this game.
Nice. And the Jets did add Roger Saffold to their team.
Who's that? Yeah. I've never heard of that kid.
So,
Pro Bowl left guard for the Buffalo Bills 1 year.
Oh, it was a give me Pro Bowl. Just like when Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl, because Josh and Lamar and all them declined to invite. But yeah, Roger Saffold signed with the Jets. They think their offensive line is bolstered, but he's not good. Their offensive line is not good. They've been proving it week in and week out. They're just not a good offensive line. So I think Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack will have a field day with guys like Mekhi Becton and whoever they got at right tackle right now. I don't even know anymore. But whoever it is, they're getting worked.
Yeah.
So they gave up 3 or 4 sacks to Kayvon Thibodeau last week. So gonna be a tough matchup.
I agree.
But I'm going with the Chargers there. Yeah, so a lot of good games. Really, really, this is huge. I'm real fired up for our game. This is a huge game. And if the Bills don't come out there with energy, I don't know what else they need to do to get energy. But yeah, so keep an eye out for what Brett's doing later this week. We will be on, at least he will be on Nickel City Mafia Saturday for Red, White, and Ruthless at 8:30. If I can make it, I will. But I don't know how long the wedding and the reception is going to be. So I can't promise. But Brett will be there representing. Maybe he'll get Tyler from Paying the Bills podcast to join, or Mike, or anyone else that's a Bills rep in our circle that could fill in for me. If not, he could take it solo. But
we'll see. It could be a surprise guest.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But Brett, I want to thank you for always being my co-host here with me. And you took the lead, but this week I'm getting it back. All I got to do, I don't even have to have more wins than you because we have a 1-loss difference. So as long as my win percentage is good, I can win this thing. And it'll be a fun week. But thank you for joining me, Brett. Go Bills Podcast, subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Like the video. Tyler went live at 8:00 tonight. So go back and watch that video and support him there. Yeah, I didn't get to watch it yet because I was at a party. Not like a party, but like a get together with friends. And I didn't drink or nothing, of course. But go check him out. I'll check him out in the morning. Show some love. Subscribe to the channels. And thank you guys. Till next time. Go Bills. See you later.
Go Bills.